I'm gonna take a break from my usual content and I'm gonna do a little story time because I have a lot of fucking crazy stories. I've done a lot of crazy shit in my life, and this might be a weekly occurrence, bi-weekly occurrence, I don't know, something like that. But I'm gonna start doing these story videos because I'm sure that this informational content, needs a little break in between. So, the first story I'm gonna talk about is how I almost got kidnapped by African drug dealers in Ibiza. The last summer, I went to Ibiza for about a week with my buddy. And this was probably in the middle of, I'd say it was in the middle of our Europe bender. I'm going fucking crazy. Went to Greece, Bulgaria, Ibiza, Austria, all that shit. It was a crazy time. But basically, we were at Ibiza, and the first night we were there, we went to a club called Pacha. If you've been to Ibiza, it's probably like the second biggest club there after High. Pacha was pretty ratchet. Actually, we first showed up there without proper attire. We thought, it's Ibiza, so you can like show up in shorts. So we showed up in shorts. We already had bought a table because that didn't matter. Showed up in shorts, and they told us to leave or buy their sweatpants. So we just went back to the hotel, changed, and came back to Pacha. So Pacha was kind of dead. It was boring. Not a whole lot really going on. I actually ended up talking to some rich British kids who were ironically there partying with their dad. Who was super rich. He was like a sugar daddy for these like fucking like 20-year-old English kids. I couldn't understand most of the words they were fucking saying either. Like, you would think that you would understand British as an American, but I didn't. I actually, when I was talking to them, I was having them type my fucking phone in the notes because I couldn't understand a single word they were saying. Anyway, that was kind of boring, so I didn't enjoy it. My buddy was really fucked up, so he was enjoying himself. He was just kind of like dancing around, doing whatever. I was kind of just sitting at the table, fucking sipping booze on my phone. And at some point, I'm like, all right, this is kind of fucking boring. This place kind of fucking sucks. It's all ratchet and shit. So I probably left around 3 a.m., something like that. And I left my buddy there because he was enjoying himself. So the next morning, I wake up, it's like 8 a.m., and I see my buddy still isn't there in his fucking room. And I like try to call him, no answer. And I just go back to sleep, and I wake up probably a couple hours later, and I see that he's back in his room. So I'm like, how the fuck did your night end up going? He tells me that his phone died and that there were no Ubers or anything like that or taxis. So he ran into a African drug dealer who was selling nitrous in front of Pacha. And the guy, I forgot his name. It was like some really normal name. His name was like Jake or some shit like that. But he was literally like straight from Africa with like a full-blown accent. He tells my buddy that he'll take him home if he helps him sell balloons as people are exiting Pacha in the morning. So my buddy, without any phone, his phone's dead, and no taxis or Ubers, and I think he had even lost his wallet or something like that. I don't remember the exact case. Basically, he helps him sell nitrous balloons in front of Pacha. They make a few bucks, and Jacob, whatever his fucking name was, drives my buddy back to the hotel we're staying at. He's all fucked up. The whole day he's whatever, blah, blah, blah. So the next night, we decide to get a table at a club called High, which is probably the most famous club there in Ibiza, one of the most famous clubs in the world. And we had an issue with taxis because there are no Ubers in Ibiza, and we had issues with taxis there. So, and by issues with taxis, what I mean by this is there's a lot of illegal taxi services there. And what they do is they look for tourists and people who are not native, and they scam them like ridiculous amounts of money, and they even go and rob people. They'll like get their location in their hotel, and like when they'll scout the area to see if when the people are gone, they'll break in there and steal all your shit. It's like a whole racket that they got going on over there. And we kind of got involved with that in terms of like the taxi that picked us up from the airport initially. It was one of those illegal taxis, and he charged us like a ridiculous amount of money for like a 15-minute drive. He probably charged us like I don't remember, like 200 euros or some shit like that for a 15-minute drive. Anyway, so since kind of my buddy made a relationship with this drug dealer, he offered to drive us to the club. So he comes to pick us up from our hotel. Our hotel, because we had never been to Ibiza before, we didn't really know where the fuck to stay. was kind of in the middle of nowhere. It was like in the middle of a fucking forest, almost, kind of like it was away from where like all the clubs and shit were. So he comes to pick us up, and he brings his business partner, if you want to say that. And in the car, I don't remember specifically what kind of car it was. I was actually kind of fucked up at the time. I was pre-gaming before the club. But it was some old fucking beat up car. There were fucking, like, I'm not even exaggerating, there were probably like 10 fucking boxes with canisters of nitrous. There were like 10 boxes of nitrous in this car. And his business partner's sitting shotgun, and me and Matt are sitting in the back. So, we kind of start talking a little bit, this and that, blah, blah. He's like, where are you guys? So you guys are going to high, this and that. Oh, there's a big DJ there, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, well, before we go there, we got to do a couple things. So, like, automatically, you're in a fucking old-ass beat-up car with an African drug dealer in Ibiza. You know that something's probably not right, or something wrong, something bad could happen. So we start running some of his errands. He goes and like drives into some random part of the island, like picks up some fucking can of nitrous or some shit like that. Then we drive into it's like a garbage area, and he like dumps a bunch of the old nitrous cans in there. And then, me and Matt, my buddy, we were like, okay, so like, when are we going to the club? This is kind of like weird. He's like, oh, we're going to the club. So we put the location of the club in our GPS to see where the fuck this guy's going, if he's actually going the right direction. Because obviously we have no sense of where anything is. This is like our second day there. And then he starts driving off like into some random direction while his buddy's still sitting in shotgun. And, it's the opposite direction of what the GPS is telling us. So we ask him, because we have the GPSs out. He probably notices this, but acts like he doesn't. We ask him, where the hell are you going? I'm going the opposite direction. He's like, oh, I try to avoid police. I go this way, so I avoid police. So that kind of starts scaring me right away. Me and my buddy look at each other like at the same fucking time, in sync. We're like, all right, this guy is about to fucking, rob us and throw us to the side of the road, kidnap us, I don't know. But like, me and him looked at each other. We're pretty capable men, so we were ready to throw down with these African drug dealers, basically. And I was like literally ready to come up behind the one guy sitting shotgun and just fucking choke him out, right? And just fucking book it in the woods, because like this road was going like through the middle of a bunch of woods. It was fucking bizarre. Like, it was literally like something out of a fucking movie. So we keep driving in the wrong direction, and we ask him again, like, hey, what the fuck's going on here? The club is literally the opposite direction. He goes, no, don't worry. I just hear that there are police on the road. We go to club. So we're going the opposite direction. GPS still saying rerouting. Actually, what happened was we were driving down this like fucking like, it was like a highway, but like, again, it's in the middle of like a forest. And there were like 2 cop cars there. And he drives past the cop cars and he looks around. And suddenly he decides, about 2 minutes later, to go back towards the club. So I can't know for certain what this guy had planned for us. But obviously, whatever it was not good. He was either gonna fucking rob us and throw us by the side of the road. He was either gonna fucking kidnap us and do I don't know what. But basically, he turned around, like literally 2 minutes after seeing the cops, and starts going towards the club. We arrive at the club. We do a few balloons in the fucking car. We're already fucked up, get into the club, have a good time. But yeah, basically that's how we almost got kidnapped by African drug dealers in Ibiza. I would probably suggest that if you ever go to Ibiza, you do not get driven around an island that you don't really know by African drug dealers.